Okay, let's dive into this Piramal Enterprises investor presentation. It covers their Q4 and full year results for financial year 2025. Looks like the heading of this slide says Table of Contents, so let's proceed.
Sounds good. The next slide presents an executive summary titled 3 Years of Transformation. The key takeaway seems to be a shift towards retail lending. It shows how retail has grown to represent 80% of their consolidated AUM, which is quite a jump from pre-DHFL merger levels.
Exactly. The slide indicates that back in June 2021, before the DHFL merger, retail was only a small portion of their AUM. Then, it increased significantly after the merger. And now we are here at 80%. Impressive growth. What about the branch network?
The number of retail branches has also increased dramatically. That makes sense, supporting the growth in the retail segment. However, the legacy AUM has shrunk substantially, down 84% as a percentage of the total. This highlights that they are deliberately exiting those older lines of business.
All part of that transformation, I assume. Now on the next slide, the executive summary provides some key numbers. It says that the total AUM is up 17% year over year in financial year 2025, which is a good sign. They also mention a 50% compound annual growth rate CAGR over 3 years for retail AUM.
Right, but the legacy AUM is down at a CAGR of 46% over the same period, confirming that deliberate wind down. They also highlight simplified corporate structure like the pharma demerger in 2022 and the ongoing PEL-PFL merger.
And it says they've monetized 6.3k crore rupees in non-core divestments and have available tax shield too. On this topic, what about their AUM mix? It's good to understand where their assets are deployed.
The pie chart on the same slide breaks down the AUM mix. Housing loans make up the biggest chunk, followed by LAP loan against property, used car loans, and business loans. It also shows the contribution from other categories like digital loans, CMML, and others.
Okay. And it notes that the consolidated AUM is about INR 80,689 crore rupees, up 17% YoY. The retail to wholesale mix is 80 to 20. That's what we just discussed. This is 70 to 30 in financial year 2024, indicating that retail lending is growing faster than wholesale.
Correct. The consolidated PAT profit after tax is INR 485 crore rupees, a big turnaround from a loss in financial year 2024. Legacy AUM is about INR 6,920 crore rupees, down 53% YoY. And the growth business PBT is INR 896 crore rupees.
What about the net worth and borrowings?
Net worth is up slightly, and borrowings have increased significantly, reflecting the AUM growth and funding requirements. The AIF gains are also noted, plus a gross recovery of INR 1,601 crore rupees.
The next slide dives a bit more into the Q4 financial year 2025 highlights. It emphasizes that retail is 80% of the total AUM and that the retail operating performance is strengthening.
Yes, and it mentions a steady ROAUM return on assets under management. It says that retail AUM is up 35% year over year, with 78% of that in secured assets. Wholesale 2.0 AUM is up 44% YoY, with an average ticket size of INR 70 crore rupees.
It also points to stable AUM yield and that OPEX to AUM is down significantly over the past 8 quarters. This improvement in efficiency is crucial.
Agreed. The growth business PBT ROAUM has also increased, which is positive. And it shows the total AUM and the growth AUM numbers. The consolidated Q4 financial year 2025 PAT is at INR 102 crore rupees, which has also improved.
On the risk side, the presentation mentions that retail 90 plus DPD days past due is at 0.8%, which seems relatively stable. It mentions that wholesale 2.0 maintains 100% collection efficiency. Also, the growth business credit cost is 1.8%.
Then, turning to the next slide. This one focuses on strong AIF recoveries in the quarter. They recovered INR 802 crore rupees with gains of INR 369 crore rupees. For the full year, the AIF gains are INR 926 crore rupees.
It's good to see those recoveries materializing. They also point to a strong liquidity and capital position with the cash and liquid investments and the total capital adequacy. This should provide a buffer against any market uncertainty.
The key here is that the legacy AUM is coming down. They reduced legacy AUM by INR 3,433 crore rupees QOQ, bringing it to just 9% of the total AUM, which is a good progress. Also, it mentions the RBI approving the PEL-PFL merger and the renaming of Piramal Capital and Housing Finance Limited to Piramal Finance Limited. They are expecting the merger to complete by around September 2025.
That merger should simplify the structure further. Also, they highlight access to global debt capital markets. That is important for diversification.
Correct. The next slide is titled, With Mix Shift from Legacy to Growth, showing how consolidation AUM growth and NIM are increasing while volatility in net profit is reducing.
On the first chart of the slide, it says that the consolidation AUM YoY growth is increasing from -1% on Q1 financial year 2024 to 17% in Q4 financial year 2025.
Agreed. On the second chart, the consolidation NIM is increasing from 4.3% in Q1 financial year 2024 to 5.8% in Q4 financial year 2025.
Also, if we look at the third chart, volatility in net profit is indeed reducing. In financial year 2023, the swings were between -1,536 crore rupees and 8,155 crore rupees, and in financial year 2024, between -2,378 crore rupees and 509 crore rupees. In financial year 2025, the variations are much smaller, ranging from 39 crore rupees to 182 crore rupees, indicating more stable profitability.
Correct. On the next slide, the investor presentation mentions the growth business profitability and shows different percentages and ratios.
The presentation says that the OPEX is constantly reducing from 5.6% in financial year 2023 to 4.2% in financial year 2025. PPOP is reducing as well, from 3.3% to 3.0%.
However, the credit cost is increasing from 0.4% in financial year 2023 to 1.6% in financial year 2025. POCI recoveries and other gains are reducing as well, from -1.5% to -0.3%.
Therefore, when the credit cost ex POCI recoveries and other gains is analyzed, it can be noticed that it was 1.9% in financial year 2023, decreased to 1.4% in financial year 2024, and then increased back to 1.9% in financial year 2025.
Agreed. What about the next slide?
This one provides some targets and what they actually achieved in financial year 2025. They stated targets in terms of total AUM, retail wholesale mix, legacy AUM, and AIF gains.
Yes, they targeted an AUM of approximately INR 80k crore rupees and they achieved INR 81k crore rupees. Their target retail wholesale mix was 75 to 25 and they achieved 80 to 20. Also, they met targets for legacy AUM and AIF gains.
They also achieved its targets regarding the exit quarter OPEX to AUM growth business. So overall, this was a successful year for them in terms of meeting its stated goals.
It looks like it. Now on the next slide, the presentation looks into the future and gives its outlook for financial year 2026E, indicating the company's expectations for key metrics. They are estimating YoY growth total AUM of approximately 25% and YoY growth AUM of approximately 30%.
Also, the company mentions that they expect to have 80 to 85% of retail share in total AUM between INR 3,000 and 3,500 in legacy book INR crore rupees and consolidated PAT INR crore rupees between INR 1,300 and 1,500.
These targets demonstrate the company's confidence in its growth strategy. Now moving on, the next slide is titled Retail Lending and provides a snapshot of this segment.
Yes, it states an AUM of INR 64,652 crore rupees, up 35% YoY. It also highlights their presence with 517 branches across 428 cities and 26 states. Mortgages AUM is INR 43,841 crore rupees. Also, it mentions an OPEX to AUM of 4.3%.
What about its profitability?
It mentions an AUM yield approximately 13.6%. The 90 plus DPD is about 0.8%. Now I find the chart showing growth momentum across product verticals very useful.
Why?
Because it allows to visualize what is the contribution of each product to the AUM. It clearly shows that housing has grown from 14,439 crore rupees in financial year 2022 to 16,675 crore rupees in financial year 2023, 19,853 crore rupees in financial year 2024, and 26,651 crore rupees in financial year 2025. All other products like LAP, used car, business loan, salaried PL, digital loan, and others are still lagging compared to housing.
Let's analyze the chart showing the disbursements.
Disbursements are up 9% YoY, that's right. What's interesting is the second chart on this slide. The investor presentation says that Piramal's commanding position is in small ticket mortgages and that they are among the largest small ticket mortgage lenders, indicating that they are focusing on small ticket loans.
The next slide states that they are growing much faster than the relevant market segment and compares Piramal's YoY growth versus peer group's mortgages.
On the following chart, it provides data about the mortgage yield from Q1 financial year 2024 to Q4 financial year 2025.
Right. And on the next slide, there are charts providing information about strong AUM growth momentum across secured products.
The first chart provides information about housing loans. It says that the AUM has increased from 22,022 in Q4 financial year 2024 to 26,661 in Q4 financial year 2025, an increase of plus 21% YoY. The disbursements have increased from 1,846 to 2,692.
Also, if we look at the average metrics for these loans, the average ticket size is of 24 lakh, the average LTV is 65%, and the CIBIL score is 754.
The next chart shows similar data but for LAP. The ticket size is of 24 lakh as well, but the LTV is a bit lower, 48%, and the CIBIL score is similar, 749. Let's move on to the next product, which is used car loans.
The average ticket size is much lower, 7 lakh. The CIBIL score is more or less the same, 748.
All these charts provide valuable insights into the performance and characteristics of their different loan products.
The next slide is about actively managing disbursements to navigate risk.
On this slide, we can see how AUM and disbursements have evolved from Q1 financial year 2024 to Q4 financial year 2025 for products like salaried PL, digital loans, and business loans. For example, we can see that business loans have increased a lot YoY. However, there has been a decrease in its disbursements.
They have provided average metrics as well. The average ticket size for salaried PL is 4.1 lakh, the ticket size for digital loans is 1.1 lakh, and the ticket size for business loans is 9.2 lakh.
The next slide shows customer profile for branch-based acquisition with several donut charts that contain information about the customer demographics and characteristics. It includes information about age group, employment category, income band, and geography.
For example, it shows that 37% of their customers are between 18 to 34 years and that 45% are salaried while 55% are self-employed. It also shows that 40% of their customers earn between INR 30k to 59k. So we can clearly see what is the type of customer that usually borrows funds from Piramal.
Absolutely. And on the next slide, the investor presentation discusses the cross-sell franchise, highlighting the company's efforts to increase customer engagement. Total customer franchise is up 24% YoY, but what I think it's interesting is that approximately 29% of unsecured disbursements are through cross-sell.
Agreed. On the following slide, we can see charts that evidence how branch and employee productivity are steadily improving.
In that context, we can see that revenue per branch, disbursements per employee, and AUM per branch are increasing, evidencing higher productivity.
Yes, and that's connected to what they're saying on the next slide, as they are focusing more on increasing product penetration into existing branches.
This is because, as it says, they are moderating the pace of branch expansion.
Agreed. This slide shows how branches added in the year have decreased since financial year 2023, while the number of products offered has increased. This leads to more products being offered per branch.
On the next slide, the focus is in demonstrating how their branches are becoming more mature.
Yes, and it says that productivity will further increase. For example, the total benchmark monthly disbursement per branch by vintage for branches with greater than or equal to 3 years is 7.9 in INR crore rupees.
The next slide is key because it talks about a stable income profile and how operating leverage is kicking in.
They mention a long-range goal to have stable income levels in a range, but they mentioned the amortization of processing fee led to the financial year 2025 drop in reported fee income.
And turning to the next slide, it discusses retail risk, with the presentation saying that the overall stable 90 plus DPD reflects diversified AUM mix. This chart is helpful to see the trends because it highlights how the 90 plus DPD has evolved for different product categories.
Yes, it provides insights into the asset quality. What I see is that digital loans and business loans have higher 90 plus DPDs compared to housing and LAP. Let's move on to the next slide, which provides further analysis about retail risk.
On this slide, the investor presentation says that there is steady improvement in quality of new originations. It provides a chart showing vintage risk, steady improvement in quality of new originations. It mentions percentages and comparisons that allows to determine if their credit scorecards are doing a good job.
Yes, and they are constantly evolving. The next slide highlights some new areas in Piramal Finance in financial year 2025, where they see AI adding value.
Those include risk management, operating leverage, improved customer experience, and better controls. Then on the next two slides, they give examples of traditional AI use cases and generative AI use cases.
After that, they talk about how it has been a transformative year in digital engagement, service, and collections.
They highlight the use of WhatsApp and their mobile app, saying that overdue collection is up 103% year-over-year.
The next slide talks about how they are scaling up new channels for liabilities, DA, and co-lending and assets, CSCs, mentioning that disbursements are up INR 1,800 crore rupees plus, and that direct assignment is INR 7,000 crore rupees plus.
In this regard, they highlight the role of direct assignment DA and company lending.
Lastly, in retail lending, they mentioned that they launched Micro LAP in financial year 2025.
The product consists in small ticket secured loans backed by mortgage with a yield approximately 18%. They have disbursed INR 235 crore rupees in financial year 2025 and the collection efficiency is 100%.
Great. Let's move to the next major section.
The next section in the presentation is Wholesale 2.0. The slide emphasizes that they are building a diversified and granular book backed by cash flows and assets.
It mentions an AUM of INR 9,117 crore rupees, up 44% year-over-year. Disbursements are at INR 7,192 crore rupees and prepayments as percent of disbursements is 45%. What else?
It also shows the mix. They have 73% in real estate and 27% in CMML.
The next slide shows AUM and disbursements for both CMML and real estate. The presentation states that their strong underwriting reflects in high prepayments as well, which is a great metric for investors to analyze. Also, there is the total repayments chart.
On the following slide, the investor presentation describes the Wholesale 2.0 as granular and diversified. There are several charts that help understand the composition of the Wholesale 2.0, like the overall asset diversity AUM mix and mix by ticket size range.
These charts give investors a clear picture of the types of assets and ticket sizes that make up the Wholesale 2.0 portfolio. They are also providing average loan tenors as well.
Yes, and then on the next slide, they focus on the portfolio analysis. They highlight information about the contracted repayment, actual repayment, and repayment plus prepayment plus exits. On the same slide, it also shows real estate AUM by geographic exposure and CMML AUM by ratings.
Got it. Now we are moving to the legacy discontinued business section.
On this section, the investor presentation highlights how the legacy AUM has been reduced down 84% in 3 years.
The investor presentation mentions how AUM composition has evolved, highlighting a significant reduction in legacy AUM and a shift towards other categories like AIF and ESRs. Also, a stacked bar chart helps see the percentage that represents each category.
Okay, let's keep going. The next section is liabilities.
On this slide, the key takeaway is liabilities management, as it states on its title. It shows charts and ratios.
The slide focuses on key aspects of liabilities management, including leverage ratios, average borrowing cost, and cumulative ALM gap. In all these metrics, what we can see is stability. The cumulative ALM gap is positive and growing, meaning that inflows are expected to outpace outflows.
On the next slide, they highlight how securitization and international borrowings now form approximately 20% of total borrowings.
Yes, they are working to diversify its funding sources. I also see information regarding long-term and short-term ratings from different entities like ICRA, CARE, CRISIL, and S&P.
Yes, and on the next slide, the presentation focuses on the asset liability profile.
One of the key points is the cumulative GAP percent, in which we see the percentage of inflows compared to outflows to see if we have a positive or negative GAP. This will allow to determine if there is enough liquidity in the near term. It also provides the PEL's console. LCR percent period end versus regulatory LCR percent requirement, stating that the company has a very strong position on liquidity.
Moving on, the next section is financials.
This section contains charts and key information about the company's financials. It provides consolidated income statement for the periods Q4 financial year 2025, Q4 financial year 2024, Q3 financial year 2025, and financial year 2025 and financial year 2024. This chart allows us to analyze what has been the evolution in terms of financials.
Okay, moving on. The next slide shows the link to datasheet Q4 financial year 2025.
The investor presentation continues on the next slide, showing the annual P&L for the growth business. It highlights net total income, OPEX, credit cost, and PPOP.
These charts are useful to see how total income, POCI recoveries and other gains, and PBTX POCI recoveries and other gains have evolved over time.
Yes, and on the next slide, they show the quarterly profitability for the growth business with key metrics, ratios, and insights.
Lastly, the final chart of the financial section shows the consolidated balance sheet, highlighting total capital adequacy at 23.6% with net worth of INR 27,096 crore rupees.
The next slides consist of the appendix, showing detailed information about asset classification total, growth and legacy assets, as well as the product segments that the company operates in. On the slide regarding product segments, the presentation details each product's average disbursement ticket size, disbursement yield, and share in disbursements and AUM.
The investor presentation says that the proposed merger of PEL with PFL is expected to complete by Q2 financial year 2026. And then the final slides show the glossary and the disclaimer. It also provides the dial-in details for Q4 and financial year 2025 earnings conference call.
Alright, that's a comprehensive look at the Piramal Enterprises investor presentation. It really shows a company undergoing a significant transformation with a clear focus on retail lending and improved financial performance.